Happy Halloween from Syracuse University. I'm Justine Brooke Murray, and today I'm on campus asking students what costumes they think are offensive and where do they draw the line with cultural appropriation. Do you find an issue with cultural appropriation on Halloween?
Yeah, I think there definitely is a problem with people having insensitive costumes.
Do you consider this costume with a headdress, a Native American headdress, offensive?
I think that in a specific context, it could be offensive, depending on, why someone's wearing it.
Would you consider this offensive?
Probably yes. It is appropriating a culture. I'm going to go ahead and say that is offensive.
Do you think this is insensitive?
Yeah, it is.
I think it's insensitive. I don't know. I mean, it's offensive to some people.
I think there are certain things that should just be left for cultural purposes and only be worn by people who pertain to that culture. It portrays people a certain way, and I think any costume that does that should just not be worn.
Do you think this is equally as insensitive?
Yes.
Do you think this is equally as insensitive?
Yeah.
What about this? Do you think this is equally insensitive?
I think the main reason why it's less offensive is because it's a white person who's making fun of a different white culture. What is the insensitive part is who dresses up as it, and all these images you showed me were of white people dressing up as different cultures.
So, what makes the hillbilly less offensive?
It's not connected to a specific culture. So, I mean, America doesn't have one specific culture, so you can't really say that that's really offending anyone.
Do you believe that this is as offensive as the Native American headdress?
I think that most people would regard the Native American headdress as more offensive, only because this kind of gives off that Southern vibe, and that's more of an American ideal.
No, I think that one's also more in comic relief.
So what makes it more comical?
I think the fact that they're missing a tooth, basically, with a Sharpie or whatever, and I don't know, the way they're dressed, just a socially more funny view. But
you have to be careful with calling costumes offensive when the point is, dress up as whatever you want. Now it gets to the point where what are you regarding your costume as? Are you saying, oh, I'm a Southern hillbilly, or am I just a person that is in a plaid shirt and jeans? And it just depends on what you're trying to depict.
Do you see this as equally as offensive?
If you were from a Muslim country, born there, it would be okay to dress up.
A nun, someone dressed up as a nun would be equally as offensive as someone dressed as a traditional Muslim.
Dressing up as a nun for me, I feel is the same as dressing up as a firefighter or a construction worker. It's a job that somebody has. Nuns represent a very long history of as a organization that's in a position of power. So I feel it's less offensive in making fun of people who are in power than it is people who aren't in power.
If it depicts a certain religion or somebody's culture, then I think it's offensive. There's really no in between.
So actually, a poll just came out that a majority of students in America believe there should be penalties for costumes deemed offensive. Do you agree with that?
I think it's tough to put penalties on costumes because it's kind of a worldwide thing. I feel Halloween, you do dress up. I think the best thing to do is limit the amount of costumes if you find them offensive.
I don't think there should be a punishment. I also, while it's insensitive to some people, people can also wear whatever they want.
I think it depends on the punishment, and I think it depends on how they're going about it, on both aspects.
It depends how harsh the punishment would be. I don't think they should be expelled for something like that unless it was completely over the top and they were deliberately trying to make a mocking attempt.
Because it is a holiday where you're allowed to dress up and, be whoever you want to be or think is funny or dress up, and I think that's okay.
It's one thing to dress up as let's say a movie character or a cartoon character or an animal, but it's a different thing when you're taking someone's traditions and values.
It's 2019, like, you don't need to be offensive. It's really not that hard. There's so many different ideas. Like,
There's so many things you can be for Halloween that you don't have to take something from someone's culture, from someone's traditions.
the school, it's a university. People come from all different backgrounds, but at the same time, it is a university. You can educate yourself on what's right and what's wrong. And if you have friends that like aren't telling you what you're doing wrong, then the school should take action against that.
Yes, we have this freedom of speech and this freedom of being able to express ourselves, but one has to understand that there are social repercussions and social consequences when you say certain things, when you act certain ways, and in this instance, when you dress certain ways, that it's like there has to be that understanding of like you can't just do as you please.